He became president at 33. In just 4 years, he vaccinated 2.5 million children, planted 10 million trees, built roads and railways without foreign aid, raised literacy from 13% to 73%, and made women's rights national policy. Then, his best friend had him shot. His name was Thomas Sankara, and his numbers reveal exactly why they could not let him live. Welcome to Birth Frequency, where we decode the hidden numerical blueprint behind Africa's greatest figures. Today, we go deep into the life, the mission, and the frequency of the man they called Africa's Che Guevara, Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara, born December 21st, 1949, in Yako, French Upper Volta, the country he would later rename Burkina Faso, meaning land of incorruptible people. Let's decode him. The man before the numbers. Understand where this man came from. He was the third of 10 children born to Joseph and Marguerite Sankara. His father was a Mossi Fulani gendarme, one of the very few Africans employed by the colonial government, which gave the family a relatively privileged position compared to most. Thomas was a studious boy who excelled in mathematics and French. His parents wanted him to become a Catholic priest. He had other plans. At age 17, he entered the military academy in the capital Ouagadougou. There, he encountered civilian professors trained in social sciences who exposed him to anti-colonialism, anti-imperialism, and Marxist thought. He also played guitar in a band called Tudaku Jazz. A revolutionary who could play guitar, speak 4 languages, ride motorcycles, and vaccinate children, all at the same time. That was Thomas Sankara. Now, understand the country Sankara inherited. When he took power in 1983, Burkina Faso had a population of approximately 7 million people, one of the poorest nations on Earth. The literacy rate was just 13%. The country was almost entirely dependent on foreign aid from France and Western institutions. Sankara looked at that reality and refused to accept it as permanent. In 4 years, just 4 years, he transformed nearly every measurable indicator of human development in that country. That is what a fully activated frequency looks like in action. Birthday number. He was born on the 21st. 2 + 1 = 3. The number 3 is the number of the communicator, the orator, the creative visionary, the one who moves people through words, symbols, and action. Sankara embodied this completely. He didn't just make policies, he made people feel them. He sold the government's fleet of luxury Mercedes cars and replaced them with Renault 5s, the cheapest car on the market. He cut his own salary. He refused to use his office's air conditioning because ordinary Burkinabe people had none. These were not just political decisions, they were communications. Every action was a message. That is pure number 3 energy. Life path number. Now let's calculate his life path. December is the 12th month. Born in 1949. 2 + 1 + 1 + 2 + 1 + 9 + 4 + 9 = 29. 2 + 9 = 11. 1 + 1 = 2. Life path 2. The servant leader and the peacemaker. This is deeply significant. While most revolutionary leaders carry numbers associated with power and authority, Sankara carried 2, the number of humility, cooperation, sensitivity, and genuine service to others. This explains everything that made him different. He didn't want power for himself. He genuinely wanted to serve. He lived in the same modest house he had before becoming president. His personal bank account at the time of his death contained the equivalent of just a few $100s. Life path 2 people feel the suffering of others as their own personal pain. They cannot separate themselves from the people around them. For Sankara, every hungry child in Burkina Faso was a personal wound. Now, his full name, Thomas Sankara. T = 2, H = 8, O = 6, M = 4, A = 1, S = 1, = 22. S = 1, A = 1, N = 5, K = 2, A = 1, R = 9, A = 1, equals 20. 22 plus 20 equals 42. 4 plus 2 equals 6. Expression number 6, the nurturer, the protector, the father. 6 is the number of responsibility, family, community, and deep care for the vulnerable. Combined with his life path 2, you have a man whose entire identity was built around protecting and serving others. This is not a profile of a man who wanted to rule. This is the profile of a man who wanted to heal a nation the way a father heals a family. Astrology. Born December 21st, Sankara sat exactly on the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn. Sagittarius is the sign of the philosopher, the truth seeker, the one who shoots arrows of vision toward the horizon and refuses to be stopped by boundaries. Capricorn is the sign of discipline, structure, and building things that last through hard work and sacrifice. Sankara embodied both simultaneously. He had the Sagittarian fire, the vision, the philosophy, the refusal to accept limitation. And he had the Capricorn discipline, the practical programs, the measurable results, the structured transformation of a nation. Sagittarius is also ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, abundance, and truth. Sankara literally expanded what was possible for an African nation in the eyes of the world. The historic moment. On August 4th, 1983, Thomas Sankara became president of Upper Volta at just 33 years old. What he accomplished in the 4 years that followed is almost impossible to believe. He vaccinated 2.5 million children against meningitis, yellow fever, and measles in a matter of weeks. He initiated a nationwide literacy campaign, increasing the literacy rate from 13% in 1983 to 73% in 1987. He planted over 10 million trees to prevent desertification. He built roads and a railway to tie the nation together, without foreign aid. He appointed women to high governmental positions, banned female circumcision and forced marriages, and recruited women into the military. He renamed the country Burkina Faso, land of incorruptible people, and personally wrote the new national anthem. All of this in 4 years, with almost no money. The opposition. Here is where the frequency story becomes a tragedy. On October 15th, 1987, Sankara was assassinated by troops led by Blaise Compaoré, his former political ally, who assumed leadership of the country shortly thereafter. Compaoré then proceeded to undo every single reform Sankara had built. He restored relations with France and the IMF. He reversed the land reforms. He dismantled the popular committees. Sankara's body was dismembered and buried. He was 37 years old. France and Ivory Coast were widely believed to have supported the coup. In 2021, 14 people were finally charged in relation to Sankara's death. When the verdict was announced on April 6, 2022, Compaoré and 9 others were found guilty of having been complicit in Sankara's murder. They killed the man, but they could not kill what he built in people's minds. Legacy. Today, Thomas Sankara is one of the most referenced African leaders among young Africans across the entire continent. Not because he ruled the longest, not because he was the most powerful, but because he proved something the world desperately needed to see: that an African leader could choose his people over his own comfort every single time. His life path 2, his expression 6, his Sagittarius-Capricorn fire and discipline, all of it pointed toward a man who was never meant to accumulate power. He was meant to demonstrate what power looks like when it is completely surrendered to service. Close. Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara, born December 21st, 1949, assassinated October 15th, 1987, just 37 years old. Birthday 3, the communicator who made every action a message. Life path 2, the servant who genuinely could not separate himself from his people's pain. Expression 6, the father who wanted to heal a nation. Sagittarius-Capricorn, the visionary with the discipline to make visions real. 4 years in power, eternity in legacy. This is birth frequency, and Africa's story is just getting started. Subscribe, share this, and drop in the comments, which African leader do you want decoded next? See you in episode 6.